Freshwater Beach, Sydney, Australia was last year voted New South Wales' happiest place to live. But this year local residents have very little good news to smile about. Recently, a development application has been lodged for the biggest residential and retail building project in Freshwater's history, without any real consultation with the local community. The development has the capacity to change the nature of Freshwater Village forever, as it is majorly non-compliant with many aspects of the Warringah Local Environment Plan, including density, height, landscaped open spaces, front building setback, land use and commercial car parking. United in their cause to save their beachside suburb from massive overdevelopment, Friends of Freshwater Village have galvanised into action to take people power to the streets.
This development application essentially came from nowhere from the community's perspective. The idea of the exercise today is to get your mind around the size and dimensions of the site. Now we are campaigning for a Freshwater Village master plan, and we've had to come together and show our concern in a very concerted way. We're here at the Growers Market site. If this development goes ahead, you can anticipate at this level retail all the way down there, and then 2 stories of development above. The actual developer has asked for an extra story in this situation, and they have put a submission in for the 2009 LEP to lift the stories to 4 at this level, and to have the whole of this right down to Marmora Street as commercial centre. The developer attempted to buy the house next door and the house next door to that, and was unsuccessful. So the net result of it all is that the car park in and out is here. Now and the idea is that there will be a roundabout just there, which when you get 330 vehicles coming in and out of here, you can just imagine. Now the developer said there's no worries, it can cope. And he said, and all the surrounding streets, he said there would be minimal impact on surrounding streets. We got an independent traffic consultant to do an analysis, completely debunked that theory. But the fact is, this is a really bad outcome because it's not big enough for in and out. I think the traffic congestion issue is probably the biggest issue associated with this, because as we know, this is a busy village and this intersection is the busiest, and when the buses and the trucks and everything come together, you get gridlock almost immediately. And in summer it's diabolical. So to put another 337 vehicles coming out here is not good thinking. Not good thinking. The other thing is that this site will be a construction site for about 2 to 3 years. So it'll be a hole in the ground for 2 to 3 years, from basically the physiotherapist downwards, other than exclusive than the bank, because the bank smartly said we don't want to lose our customers, we're a community bank and we want to be in operation. We've got 7 or 8 employees, so they decided that they weren't going to be part of this, so they're excised from the development, and the hoardings will go up all along. So the whole site is going to be demolished, and there'll be a massive excavation, demolition and construction for the next 2.5 to 3 years. That's the prognosis for Freshwater Village. One of the aspects of this is this electricity substation, which you can see is not a small substation. And it services our area, of course. But flush against that fence down there is going to be a 5-storey building. And it's 5 stories with 30 units, and on the ground floor, under the LEP, it's meant to be workplaces, so it's residences above and workplaces on the ground floor. But of course I'm not sure that workplaces under the Occupational Health and Safety Act will be allowed to be so close to an electricity substation. In fact, I've never heard of buildings being purpose-built beside an electricity substation such as this. You're not meant to enter it. You can see the razor wire clearly prevents you. But the real aspect of it is the fact that the electromagnetic radiation is a problem. the jury's out on the extent of the problem, but we do know that, that there is a causal risk for childhood leukemia. Another source of electromagnetic radiation is that building, of course, because it's a de facto telecommunications tower, and some of you have been in the suburb a long while. Remember that the community didn't want a communications tower, so they just converted their building to a communications tower. That was the way they resolved the issue. But it still leaves us with the electromagnetic radiation issue from this site just there and from this site there. And now you can see there'll be a 5-storey building just there, and there'll be another, I think it's a 4-storey building just here. It'll come up to this corner here, and of course it's right within the perimeter of that electromagnetic radiation source. I should say that eventually this land needs to be consolidated, and what we as the Friends of Freshwater Village are saying is that we should be able to go back to the drawing boards and look at the whole site and look at the way it can be used for the benefit of the community.
After living in the district for probably about 25-30 years, I've seen small changes, good changes, little cafes popping up there, al fresco dining. But what's happening now is this development's going to take it completely outside the limits of all that and take away that village atmosphere that we have.
Well, I like it the way it is now. I like the village atmosphere and the shops, the growers, and I think that's what makes it unique. And it's a shame to see it all being developed. I know we have to modernise things and update, but I think it should be within reason.
Well, I know progress has got to happen, but I want it done according to the council rules, not some bloke come in and say, well, I want to do this and do it. If the council's got special rules to build places, I mean, when I was building a house in Kallura Avenue, I had the council down there examining it and knocking it back and doing things, and I had to keep changing stuff. And so I expect the same thing to happen to developers.
I'm hoping that after today's site visit, and well done Peter Harley and co for that, that if we can now tap on this sort of enthusiasm and start putting in our ideas for what we actually want in this site. Let's look beyond the DA now and start looking at what we want on this site with what controls we accept and what vision we have for it. And I think that's really important we start doing that now, so we're ready to hit the ground running when we start doing the DCP.
This is Sue Dengate and her husband, Stuart, who've been running this butcher shop for a fair while. It's an institution in the village, and it's about to close. It's about to close, and as I said earlier on, villages are made up of butchers, bakers and candlestick makers. They're made up of essential services that we all appreciate, and it's a really sad thing to see her depart. The thing about the bakery here and the thing about all these shops is that they're part of the next development that's about to happen in Freshwater Village, and you can see there's now a turnover in tenancies and that sort of thing, which tends to happen when someone has put a development application in. The whole of this site from the Bronzed Onion up is subject to another development, and they are waiting to see what concessions are given on this site. So we've got to be very hard in our voice in making sure that no concessions are given on height, bulk and everything like that. We want it to stay within the LEP for the village. Now the LEP for the village is what the Cavill is down on the corner of Albert and Lawrence. That's retail at ground level and 2 stories of accommodation above. That's what we want to keep it. If it's good enough for Paris, it can be good enough for Freshwater.